Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rundgren Radio Virtual Vision. What's up, Cruiser Mel?
Oh, we're going to have a couple of really good guests on tonight. Hi, Doug.
Hey, we got some good guests. We got Rob and Scrote from the What the World Needs Now.net tour, which we're going to have a lot of fun talking about. We've had a lot of guests already that are cool with this tour. If you
Oh
haven't
yeah,
seen those,
we've
go back
learned a
and check them
lot,
out.
even though we haven't gotten any spoilers, and we really don't want any.
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Before we get started, though, just let you know, we started a Boston party, which is going to be the night before the What the World Needs Now show in Boston at the Wilbur Theater. It's going to be at the Lizard Lounge, which we were back in 2014. So if you want tickets to that or want to see some information about it, check it out at this website here, rundgrenradio.tix.com. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're in town for the concert, you get to go to the party. If you're not, fly in so you can go to the party and then go to the concert.
Short and sweet, right?
That's the way it's got to be. All right. I don't know. Everybody says that. I'm going to do it anyway. Without further ado, let's bring in our guests, Scrote and Rob. What's happening?
Hey, guys.
Hey. Hi, Doug.
Hi.
The Lizard Lounge, huh?
Yeah, man.
I'll
You ever
be there
been?
the night before. I'll come to that.
Awesome. It is a great place. It's a little kind of hole in the wall place. We had a party back there 11 years ago. Had a blast.
Is it on the same street across the street?
It's in Cambridge, so I don't know for sure. Did this start off with y'all thinking about Todd, or did you have this concept and then, thought about some other people and said, wait a second, Todd Rundgren will be perfect for this?
Well, Todd comes in much later. This goes back. God, man, what do you think? I think it's 15 years. I started having conversations with Scrote about, some things that I want to do something. I think I talked about doing something sort of a 70s rock sort of version of Bacharach stuff. And I just had some different ideas. And then that was always kind of there. And Scrote and I have been buddies for 25 years now. So, but when Burt passed, I knew I wasn't going to do anything there for, a good year. I just let it sit. And then things started to turn around a bit, and people started asking me about, are you going to do something? So I just called up Scrote. So I'm kind of throwing out a little bait, sort of like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think about this? You got any advice on this? Because I'd been part of a little bit with the Bowie stuff. So I just said, what do you think? And and he took the bait. Like, oh, should we get this together? Yes, right answer. And so then, of course, Todd is here because of Todd having done Bowie with Scrote. So when we started kicking around the ideas of artists, his name came up, and I mean, it was really exciting. And it's not an obvious choice, so that makes it cool.
Yeah. I had lunch with Todd and Adrian back in 2022 in Nashville. We had done a photo shoot for the Bowie run, and somehow, I don't remember how or anything, Bacharach came up, and Todd told me he was a big fan, and he liked this and that, and it seemed like some kind of passing reference. We were talking about all kinds of stuff, and then when Rob called and that came up, it just within a few days or a week or so, popped in my head. I don't know how I remembered that. I thought, well, what about Todd? And I contacted. We both thought, wow, okay, that's a great idea. And I contacted Eric, Todd's former manager, and he said, well, Todd's not doing any kind of tribute kind of things anymore. He's sworn off of it. And I said, I don't know, man, maybe you should check this one out. He said, yeah, well, okay, I'll run it by him, but don't count on it. He's not going to do it. Then it came back, well, when would you want to do it? Okay.
Good job.
So that's kind of how that kind of came about. So we're excited.
We've got a lot of good people in it.
Yeah, how did these other characters, Wendy and Tori, the other singers, how did they come into the fold?
We just started kicking it back and forth, looking for people. We kind of knew what, we talked about, like, hey, let's get multi-instrumentalists, kind of flesh it out with, we can have a certain size ensemble. And then we'd be, what about this person? Hey, do you know so-and-so? And just started carving away at it, because it has to be a certain thing instrumentally. So there's a lot of not hurdles, but kind of benchmarks to get it right, because we're very devoted to doing it correctly.
Well, Rob, I know that Scrote fessed up that you were the one who brought in Tori Hollable, who we've had on, and she's just like an internet sensation, for lack of a better term. She's blowing up. She's doing really well, and I noticed they've kind of started marketing her a little bit more on the tour, and I think that's a great idea. She's I'm hoping she's going to do some Carpenter songs, but we don't know, but it makes sense.
They're few in the catalog, so I guess it's a good possibility.
Good possibility. Sure.
That's a little cagey answer there.
She was a great choice, and because it hits a few different marks.
Mm-hmm.
One, she's really great, and she's from the same aesthetic, sort of that where I kind of come from, and my wife, remember, we sort of love that sort of 70s soft classic mellow thing, kind of in that. And so she's there already. Some people we know, we're into her. But you know what I love? I love the fact that she's young and she's new and she's up and coming, because that's an exciting part of this catalog, is to get, not only have, a superstar legend like Todd, but the catalog to help bring some new artists, to the fore. And I know that Burt would be just tickled about that idea, that this is going to probably help break her. And I think she's kind of primed and ready for that. But this started out with, I just called her up and, hey, would you be interested to do 2 or 3 songs on a couple of dates around your area? Because she's up in Minnesota, and that turned into oh, 3, 4 songs. Okay, well, how about 5? 6, and then it kind of grew from there, and she's kind of grown into the idea of doing it, and now it's fully embraced it, and I'm really excited to sort of get to witness this, and just sort of witness her getting to go through all the aspect of touring. Being on a tour bus, the early mornings, all the stuff that it takes, the sound checks, and just kind of see that. I remember when I was really young, I was younger than that when I started touring, and you just got to kind of learn your way, and it's exciting to see someone else go through that with that enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm. And we decidedly tried to choose a wide range of musicians and artists from all kinds of ages and backgrounds, professional levels, just to, really flesh out the material and appeal to a wide range of people, and
we also wanted most everybody to be singers in the band, and that's what led to Probin and Chasm and Woody, these other really great players that are in, because they're also great singers.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll all get their features. And we had a list. I don't know, what do you think, Scrote? We probably had close to a dozen people that we were going through, and it was some
I don't remember.
Wanted to, but availability wasn't good, or for some reason or another, and we just had to keep hacking at it until we zoned in on on this lineup. And then Wendy, of course, she's filling a big role as well, because she's a lot of that Dion, a lot of that Dion sort of dynamic, will go to Wendy, and so those are big shoes to fill as well. And she's up for it.
We enjoyed seeing that Dion video y'all just put out. That was nice. Listen to her talk about the tour.
Oh,
She's great. She's so nice. Yeah,
she is. And Rob, didn't she just get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
She sure did.
Were you there that night?
No.
When she no. Oh, okay. Well, she sure seemed to be enjoying herself that night. That must have been a bar she had set for herself or something. I don't know.
I don't know if you guys prefaced it, but for those who don't know, Rob worked directly with Burt for, 30 years. and Dion at the, weaving back and forth between them. That's how we even met, actually, because I had done produced an album and played an album of all Bacharach covers, and the engineer that I worked with as a new Rob said, hey, I got to get to those guys, and sent it to him, and they responded really positively. And then he came through. I was in San Francisco at the time, and they came through with Burt to play the show, and then we connected there. And the promoter also was a friend of mine of that show, still is a good friend of mine. So everybody wanted me to connect with everybody. I ended up having dinner with Burt and Rob that night, and backstage, and then Rob and I moved to LA right around the same couple months, and just we've been playing music and working together ever since.
I don't think we knew that about you, Scrote. Are you a big Burt fan?
Oh, I'm a huge Burt fan. I know the material really well. So I've played Bacharach music for many, many years with a group out of the Bay Area. That had pretty good reputation and draw up there, and we had a couple albums out. One of them all Burt Bacharach material, and one originals.
What's that album called? What's the band?
It's out on Universal now. It's called, to change the name a little bit, on the Universal, the artist's name is Casino Royale, and on Universal the record is called Bacharach Back to Back. Originally it was called something else, but when we made the deal, it was called Back to Back Bacharach. And I'm sure for indexing reasons,
I played Burt, and that's how it all. Like we gave him, and he thought it was cool, and then that's when we had you guys come to the show, and then we met up, and but Doug, Mel, Scrote knowing this material so well is what's made him the perfect sort of producer partner on this.
Mm-hmm.
He gets it, musically and the producing side. He's brilliant with that as well. But he understands what we're doing, so we can really get into the weeds on building the show. And he and I really built this show together. I mean, I've got my hands all over the arrangements and doing all that, but conceptual from the beginning. This has very much been the two of us bringing that sort of
driving it, shaping it.
And refining it. But all with that, that basic, real understanding of the material and love of the material, and that's sort of what as we've picked other people to be in the show. That was sort of been always the prerequisite. You got to kind of know and love the material to do this, to bring the best to it. And then of course with Todd, being a brilliant songwriter and producer himself, he gets this catalog, at that deeper level. And it's so great. I mean, the cast of people. Wait till you guys come to this. Wait till you see this.
And we were particular too, and picking people. Not only, I mean, it's a lot of things to consider, but also just attitude and an up kind of vibe. We wanted people who are positive, because the way I see Bacharach music, it's even with heartbreak, it's all about love. And
true.
And you have to have a certain something and carry it with you on tour, on stage. That was one thing with Wendy. It was we went through a lot, looking at so many different singers kind of for that role. And she jumped out to me because just her, even any kind of vocal delivery was very positive as well. She had all the technique she has and the presence. And we had a lot of great singers that had that, but a lot of them didn't have that kind of cheery kind of delivery. And there's just something indescribable. My wife called her sunny, just a sunny delivery. I thought that was a really good term. So we tried to have that good group of people, not worn out, tired old pros, still inspired pros.
Well, I got to say, and I want to thank you guys for it, because, when it first came out the tour, I'm like, I didn't know these people, and now we've gotten to know them pretty well, and have had them on, and they hit what you just described. I mean, Woody, super nice. Kenny, super nice. Tori, super nice. Probin, what we already knew a little bit, super nice. I mean, these are just really great people who haven't been in the spotlight as much as, say, a Todd Rundgren, but they're about to be. And I do think when that first show happens, March 22nd, that it's going to blow up. People are going to be like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with a new show. people don't know what to expect or kind of what it is. So we have to get those first couple of shows under our belts, come out swinging, and let people check it out, pass it around. Sure, it'll make social media and YouTube and all that stuff.
Oh gosh, oh, no kidding.
Which is pretty, that's pretty daunting. This isn't like just a first, a tour. These are the first shows ever. So we're going from nothing to a 22 city tour in theaters. That's that's unusual.
It's a big tour. So Rob's musical director. You picked the set list, Rob, or y'all kind of did that based on who you had in the band and kind of thought it that way and what would Burt like?
Yeah. Again, that's Scrote and I threw, 50, 60 songs into a playlist and kind of started whittling it down and shaping it. It's been a lot of back and forth, on that aspect as well. What keeps it exciting is that, conceptually with this tour, we'll do others of these, and these lineups will change. The feature artists will change. The musician lineups will change, and that allows us to address the songs kind of in different ways and come up with different ones, different arrangements, different keys. And so it is building the show to some degree around what we have on stage. And so we feature those musicians. And so in the case of like where you have Probin and Woody, who are great musicians but multi-instrumentalists, that allows us to do some things that'll feature those aspects. And then what singers do we have, and what are they suited for? So it's a big puzzle. And then on top of that, there's so much material to go through as well. I mean, we quickly had 50, 60 songs that are all potentials that we had to
all like hits of some sort.
Is there a possibility that the set list might change from night to night here and there?
Well, it could, depending on time. Well, we have special guests we're announcing soon, sitting in. So that'll shift a little bit as some guests come on here and there.
So when will y'all be talking about that? When is that coming?
When are you coming back on the show to announce that?
That's in the next few days.
Oh, really? Okay.
Kind of scheduling that. Yeah, we have some exciting people coming on board.
Really?
But yeah, you can imagine that with Rob being in the UK and me in LA based, every night and every morning, we're just trading notes or jump on a phone call or go back and forth pretty much every day.
No doubt you're very connected. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing who those are going to be. So Rob, is there anything I never saw any of Burt concerts, anything like that, anything that has happened prior? Is there any signature things stage wise that might be happening that would be for people who used to go to the shows and know them really well? They'd be like, okay, I get this. Like, did he have any kind of stage presence type thing that everybody would know about, or that y'all are thinking about doing that would be very Burtish?
Well, I think with Burt, it was always just presenting the songs, and I know we're doing the same thing and being true to the spirit of the composition. So no, there was no. He didn't have any sort of juggling flaming poodles.
No Angelo Moore stuff.
Huh? And we're not doing an imitation of his show, and I'm certainly not going to sit up there and do a pale imitation of Burt. It's not that at all. With me, it's 40 years now working with both Burt and Dion, playing these same songs with Burt, with Dion, with Burt and Dion together. So all that is so ingrained in my DNA that all that's going to be evident. And I think anybody who knows the catalog and has seen the shows will feel at home. But I think what we're also able to do in this show is take some of those governors off. I think I was speaking with someone about this. I think it was over on the Bacharach discussion thread, and that because I've written shows and arrangements for both of them, both Burt and Dion. So I've gone through this material several times before. But now I can kind of do it without any limitation because, Burt had an approach of what he wanted to cover and how he wanted to do things. And same with Dion. And then with Dion, of course, she's got a whole body of work that's not Bacharach. So there were always sort of limitations on what we could do. So I can sort of take the essence of those things and now blow them up a little bigger than life and live with these songs, more sort of less medleys, which was a big aspect of those shows, and we do a lot of songs there. We're covering a lot of material in this show. It's gonna be,
and we can. One part of the thing I think valuable of Rob and I going yin and yang on this stuff is he, with all those years of experience with Burt and Dion, he's bringing that to the table. I don't have that firsthand experience with those artists, so I'll throw in a wrench. I and we find that middle ground. Like I have no commitment to what their show was. I know it on a certain level, but I wasn't there day to day or anything. And when I've done it, it's the material before. Like I've played these songs a lot with a big band for many years. So our approach was different as well, with the multiple singers kind of taking over. So I'm kind of bring that to the table, and then Rob will keep me in the guardrails sometimes. We get some kind of thing, but we're so kind of swimming around the same kind of things together that a lot of times when we go back and forth, he'll say something, and while I'm typing the same thing back to him.
Jinx.
Oh, that's cool.
That happens. Yeah, and that is to elaborate on that. That's been a great balance in this too. Is to sort of break some of that thinking, and Scrote will, like I said, he'll throw something in there that'll be like, oh, really left field a bit. That's kind of cool, and then we can kind of find that play, and we very quickly do. Even when we initially don't agree on it, there's always kind of something there. And the cool thing about working with Scrote, let me say this, because we've been doing this now 25 years. And we have a very good, quick handshake of working, because we've done this back and forth well before this show, where one of us, because we're both producers, we're both writers, we're both arrangers, and we're both just musicians. There are times where I'll be producing a session and Scrote will just be the guitarist. I don't need any big producer opinions or everything, got that covered. He's just coming and doing it. And then it might be a week and a half later, it would have switched, and I'm playing piano on something that he's doing, and I'm just the piano player. So we know very quickly how to step in, fill a space, and then also pull back and listen and give the other room to sort of have those ideas. And that's why the show has really benefited from that. We just kick these things back and forth, and then the best idea.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I'm not playing on this tour, because I was like, well, I don't really see a spot for me on this guitar wise. It's not guitar heavy. There's guitar in it, but as a player, I'm a guitar player, first, second to bass player behind that. And this is not really a role. And also we're looking for lead singers that would fit for this material. Well, that's not the kind of vocal I do. And so, we both it's like, well, I'm not really seeing it. And you don't see a role for me. Well, not particularly, unless, we came to that too.
Oh man, I bet that's going to drive you crazy the first night or two, at least.
Oh no, I'm really comfortable.
Well, believe me, he's got other stuff he needs to be
I'm comfortable. Like the first tour I ever produced without being on it was a tour I just did, and which is going worldwide right now. The Beat Tour, which is 80s King Crimson with Adrian and all those. And I thought, and I know that material well, but when I was asked to do that, I thought, oh, that's funny. Produce a tour, not play on it? What did I think about that? And then I thought, well, I know I know the material extremely well. I know I don't really see a place. I'm not that kind of player. So it all quickly made sense to me in the same kind of way, and it came up about me sitting in with those guys too. But, I was pretty comfortable once it gets rolling and everything, it's just a different shoe to wear, put on. I'm pretty comfortable with that. And I'm always playing music anyway. So I'm off playing them with my bands this weekend. I put out my own record. So I'm never not playing, even if I'm not playing on this show.
But come on, you're going to be making a phone call around 11 p.m. to Rob saying, how did it go?
You can be a guest. You never know.
Particularly with this material, because I have played it a lot. So it is really fun for me, And I like I sat with Woody going over guitar parts and everything. And it's funny, like, hey, well, try this. It's weird that I'm showing someone else
Just playing. Yeah.
But whatever, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I the other day, well, not just the other day, but when this tour was first announced, I went through my old CDs and I dug out. Oh, I love this. I love this CD so much. And I wore it out back in the early 2000s. There was a TV special, Rob, called One Amazing Night.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought, well, I wonder if Rob had anything at all to do with this. So I pulled out the liner notes. I can't find your name anywhere. But there you are, Rob Schrock.
Rock, yeah.
Keyboards. I just got cracked up about that, but I just wanted to tell you that I'm fangirling right now because I remember every minute of that TV special. It was so good, and I've told people about it, and I thought it was on A&E, and I was wrong. I looked it up; it was TNT.
Yeah.
Yep.
My bad. But what a fun show! I hope that we're going to see something, a little bit like that. That everybody's going to maybe put a little bit of their own spin, but not too much,
That is Mel, that's a very good observation.
Well, I know. Okay, look, I'll be critical here. There was one song I did not like. Ben Folds 5, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
That was great.
They sped it up too much and it just ruined it.
Oh, that verse. You like the song, just not that verse.
Oh, correct. I love the song.
Yeah. I get what you're saying is like the approach to it was a little too far away from what you would expect. And that's understandable. Those are the kind of conversations, we have with this as well. So
right. So why did you go by the name Schrock? Just because people had trouble pronouncing?
Shirakbari was just a mouthful. And it was like, I was little as it is, a little kid with this big name and when I got older, I just changed it and shortened it. And so, but then when Ruben and I got married and we're thinking about having a child, I was like, well, I'm just going to go back to my family name. And yeah, probably hasn't helped my career, but that's okay, whatever.
You never know.
Try being called Scrote.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I don't even want to ask about that one. I'm a lady after all.
We had him on the show. Speaking of family, so have you gotten feedback from family or the big fandom of Burt and Dion, things like that? Have you heard good things about people being excited about y'all doing this?
Oh yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Is there one of their first questions? Todd, who?
No.
No.
It could be.
No. I think what I'm getting a sense of is that, that this was not a long time coming, but an obvious step for me to jump in and lead this, in an effort to keep the music alive and vibrant. I mean, to hear these songs live now, we're running out of, Burt's gone and Dion's not touring as much as maybe as she used to. So this is a continuation, I think, of that. And that's the sense that I'm getting of like, this is sort of an obvious thing. And so I'm pleased about that. I'm not getting any resistance or anything, quite the opposite. I'm getting a lot of encouragement and people that are like, because the music's going to be done right. And that is important. The music will be done, right and true to the spirit of the songs. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can see that in Dion's video message, how much she loves Rob and so excited. And she said so from the start before that video, how excited she was for him and the catalog to be out there and how he's the right guy to get out there and do this. So
perfect. I can imagine. I know Todd gets it a lot, with Hello It's Me in particular, but these shows that you did, there's got to be fans always kind of, I wish you'd have done that one. You probably heard that 1,000 times. They should. I mean, how do you
Yeah.
pick? You know?
With both Burt and Dion, it was always that. There's so
Yeah.
many. Golly, there's so many songs there. This catalog is so big. This is one of those catalogs that is so big. There are very few artists that are actually bigger than the catalog, you know, and that's really saying something, because you just go song after song after song, and they just keep coming. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So you
I
mentioned.
like how
Oh, go ahead, Scrote. Sorry.
I'll just say how Rob has put it before, like looking forward to people saying, coming to the show, walking away going, wow, I didn't know he did that song. He wrote that song, or just in the moment, you know, we'll get into the next song. And it comes from so many different artists, genres, and styles that people will know some over here that had no idea over here, and vice versa. So I think they'll kind of be
Or they know it and they forgot. It's like, oh, I forgot about that song altogether. Yeah, I love that. There'll be a lot of that in the audience for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, I think there's going to be unfortunately, some sing along going on out in the audience. Doug hates that.
Yeah, maybe. Are we gonna be able to hear the people you actually paid to go see? I don't know. We'll see. That's true. That's fun too, though. You know,
we're doing some deep dive into the catalog as well. So it's not just, we could just play hits all night long, but we're doing some, you know, some deep diving too. So the big super uber Bacharach fans are going to be happy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Start studying, folks.
Yes. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people educated on things like you mentioned that probably have no idea that that's Burt. You know, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. You know, I was in 99. So that One Amazing Night, I saw that program then as well. And that's kind of my entrance into the deeper catalog, because that played, and a promoter called me that night, and that was the promoter who ended up connecting us with Rob and Burt in person in San Francisco. In 99, he called me up and goes, hey, why don't you do a band that does all Bacharach? And I thought, that's funny. I just saw that thing on TV. I said, yeah, I dig that stuff. And he goes, yeah, there's a new Rhino 3 CD compilation out. And that's got a lot of things. And I wasn't thinking he was going to take me up on this. I said, well, you know, buy me that I was teasing him, buy me that, you know, compilation and you're on. And he said, okay, meet me at Tower Records at 6. It's like, oh, oh, okay. So I went to Tower and he bought me that, took it home. I had the night off and I listened to it over and over, and I was doing the same thing. What? He wrote that? You know, I can't believe it. It's for decades, you know. And so I kind of went through that experience, you know, way back then. I knew a bunch of the songs. My mom was a singer, and so she sang them and I was a big fan. So I knew a lot, but it was even more.
There you go.
I had no idea. But that's a good intro. To me, that's a great intro piece if people want to check it out. Rhino Collection.
3 CDs.
I'm not sure the name of it. I think it came out in 99, right then, spring of 99.
We'll do our homework. Check it out.
3-disc compilation. But yeah, you hear all the different singers stylistically and from different periods, and it's just a wow factor, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Really
I think it's exciting that you guys are going to treat this music correctly, first of all, and bringing some young people in on the stage. And by young, I mean, Tori is really young. I'm not sure. Is she 21 yet? Can she even be in some of these places? But this music deserves to keep living. It really does. And I think you guys are the right guys for it. So I say, as Todd says, the world needs more Burt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the world, Rob, you mentioned earlier about maybe taking some other groups out, and I read something about possibly going to Europe and maybe get more locals. I'm sure you might have some of these folks too, but that's in the plans, it sounds like.
I think that's something we certainly want to do, and it does make sense that that the lineup change a bit based on that. But I'll let Scrote speak to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is to kick off something we'd like to do for a while,
Mhm.
and as Rob's told me many times, and I've seen that Bert and Dion are fans all over the world, like a lot. Bert's really well known and revered here, as big as anybody could be as a songwriter. I would think Rob can tell you in the UK it's even more.
Yes.
Well, this
Exactly.
tour will be bigger over in the UK and Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I Antarctica. I've played every continent multiple times with both of them. Fans all around the world. Interestingly enough, even like somehow, played Russia a few times, and the music somehow from the 60s and 70s got through the wall, and they knew it there. It somehow had gotten in the water there as well. So it really had has permeated everywhere. So we certainly will. And then I think what does make sense is to keep it alive and dynamic, is to keep revisiting it so that this doesn't become a museum piece. Like we said, let's say we come to the UK, then I'll have some UK based musicians, different kind of skill sets. And then we want to pull from the artist pool here that all love the catalog influenced. And then you can make these little shifts and just recombine things. And then that allows me to revisit the material. And that keeps that interesting and fresh, because now we're doing maybe a different arrangement, or maybe a song that was sung by a girl is going to now be sung by a guy, and we'll change things up. And also, so many of these songs had multiple sort of hit versions of them. So you don't have to go get crazy and clever and reinvent things. But there's enough there already we could lean it more like this version of this or like that. And that keeps it all alive. And then for the fans, if you really love the material, if you come back and see this multiple times, it's going to be different. It's going to have some organic growth to it. Yet, I think my role kind of in all this is to keep it taste-wise and aesthetic in a place that makes sense and that works. And that's been instilled in me, and just use that as sort of the guide to kind of keep it from going off the rails, and keep it in a place that is tasteful and yet exciting. And also, you'd mentioned, I think Melly said earlier that, some people get it wrong, and that drives me nuts. I see people get it wrong all the time. They want to play up the kitschy bit, or they want to play up the 60s hipster martini kind of thing. And they're kind of missing the sort of the compositional forward thinking of him. And then, we have to, talk about some of the lyrics as well. Like, Hal was certainly coming from a Tin Pan Alley tradition, and then the early 50s song. And then as that kept moving along, and then embracing sort of the changes of the 60s. So there's this progression in lyrics and in Hal's lyric writing as well that's accompanying all this. And so it's not just about always the compositions as well. There's the messages are in there, and the layered depth of emotional exploration is all in there as well. So you can't screw all that up by trying to be too clever with it. Sometimes you just got to lay the song bare, and that's sometimes the best reading of it.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to get to see.
Yeah.
And
I would say, I would assume Rob would guess it too. We're both musicians first and foremost of anything. So bringing on different people and artists, hey, that's fun. It's just meeting people and working with new people, working with old friends, and kind of connecting. It's just feeding the musician community all over the place. That's an extra level that I really love.
Absolutely. I'm looking really forward to seeing some of these. I've never heard of Elise, and just seeing her play drums and watching what she does, all the instruments she plays on her website. It's just a really fun group. But Rob, I know you've probably been asked a lot, but tell us a little bit, like some of the better moments with Burt that you had, and some of the things he might have taught you, with some of the moments that you really liked doing all the great things you got to do.
One of the best things he taught me?
Yeah.
Dress in layers.
It's true. Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, he always had a t-shirt on with maybe a sweater and a little jacket, because it doesn't matter the time of the year. It could be sweltering outside and the air conditioner will be blasting somewhere you need, or the opposite. It could be free, So dress in layers. That was one of the best things
You're gonna need that going to 22 different places, California, already somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good advice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What were some of the good times? What were some good moments you had with him?
Oh wow. I mean, the funny thing is, he and I were kind of friends as well. It wasn't just the music. Certainly, the overriding bond was the music and the great respect there. But we kind of became friends too. I mean, we would skied in Tahoe and I would stay over in Edmonton to see an Oilers game and call Burt and say, hey, listen, I'm not flying back tomorrow with everybody. I'm staying to go to the game. You interested to go to a hockey game? And be like, yeah, change his ticket and we'd go see. So we had some of that as well. And for people like us that are really sort of obsessed about the music and everything, you don't get out of yourself that much, to do those kinds of things. So I think that was kind of a valuable thing for both of us to be able to sort of just hang out outside of it, but by and large, obviously it was about, the music and we kind of bonded on that, very quickly. I think I sort of could hear things the way he did. I could pick up on things pretty quickly. And the way we sat on stage, I was sitting kind of perpendicular to him. So he's kind of sideways and I'm facing him. Mel, if you look at the One Amazing Night, you'll see where I'm positioned, That was an extended part of the stage, but I'm sitting right over there. I could lean over, we could high five. I mean, so I'm seeing him, what he's playing. I'm hearing how he's hearing the orchestra because the orchestra is right around behind me and the singer's right there. So I'm seeing how he's conducting. I'm seeing how he's interacting with the singer. I'm seeing how he's playing, how he's shaping things, how it changes from night to night. So those are the memories. I remember sitting there some of the last few years on stage before I left the band thinking, one day, I can't imagine it, but one day I'm not going to be here doing this. This is going to end somehow because, things, they don't last forever. And eventually that day comes. But I remember I really soaked it in. It's like I have the best seat in the house because I'm hearing everything live and organic right here in this spot. And you just can't replace those memories. So for me, those are the memories. Those are the things that were the greatest. Because it's not like he was super detailed about explaining things. You had to sort of look and learn and listen and observe. And if you were paying attention, like all things, all people that dispel wisdom, you have to sort of pay attention and read between the lines and listen for it and look for it.
Got to have a little wisdom to take in that wisdom.
Yes.
I mean, and
you can imagine with Rob, Rob's been right there with every one of these major artists coming through. Stevie Wonder, Elton John, Aretha Franklin, you name it. Rob was there.
Oh, Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis. I've shared the stage with them, And so for what Scrote and I are doing, where you bring in all these guest artists, like we're just used to this. This is nothing, nothing out of the ordinary. Some artists, and some artists got demand. It's like whatever, and it's all good, and it's just something I've just grown up with it. I mean,
yeah.
What I would tell you one other thing too. The demand also is different. I laugh at some of these kids today, because the work ethic seems to be, we would get up finish a show. We'd be up at 5:30 in the morning to leave at 6:30 in the morning to fly to the next city and hit the town with a pickup orchestra, which means a string section, a horn section, I think an orchestral percussion player plus our band. And we'd have to be ready for a 1 o'clock downbeat rehearsal, 1 to 5, to rehearse that show from scratch with musicians that had never seen the music before.
30, 40 musicians.
Do the show that night and then get up the next morning and go do it again. And that sort of discipline of hitting those marks and shaping that music day after day after day. And with Burt, it got to a point pretty early on, both with Dion and then with his show, where he would come to rehearsal later and later. And it's like, Rob, you start rehearsal. I'll come in 45 minutes later. And And then it ended up being sometimes I would do almost the whole rehearsal. He'd roll on at the last bit and, hey, are there any problem spots? Oh, okay, we'll hear that. Let me hear the strings that back in that old song that, we need to check. And so I got this beautiful immersion of getting to sit and sort of play his role, play his chair, doing all that, and then goes for the show, go sit in my chair and do that, then play my bit as the second keyboard player. And then when we were on the road, then I'd go on the road with Dion, and then I am sitting in that chair playing piano and sort of sitting in his role for real with Dion. So that sort of doing it in all these different angles, that immersion, that's priceless. It's priceless to be able to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. I bet it's probably hard to remember, and you've got it down now to a science so much, towards the end. I bet you could do it almost blindfolded, but you had to be pretty nervous at first when you first started doing some of that, I bet.
Nah.
No, you're not? You that good?
No, man. When you're
love it.
I didn't really get the gravity, I think, of the people I'm sitting in the room with. It's like you get the call, you're in the room. It's like you realize it's cool, and you know some of the songs, the hit songs, and some of it was just learning on the job. But being at least smart enough to not blow the opportunity and get kicked out of the room, quietly enough to learn and sort of take on that role. And then later in life, it kind of comes. But like I said earlier, when you're working one-on-one with someone, you don't really see them in that same way.
Yeah.
I reflect back on it now, probably with more sort of astonishment maybe than in the moment. Because when I said this to someone the other day, and I'm going to repeat it because I think I was pretty good. It kind of came to me. I met Gregory Peck once, and that's one of the few times I've been, starstruck. It's Gregory Peck. In the big deep voice, well, hello, Rob. And he shook my hand with a big, huge hand. And I'm thinking, that's Gregory Peck. And I hardly could say anything. But if I was an actor and I had a scene with Gregory Peck, it's a different thing now. Now I've got to interact with him. You got to sort of have to work at a different level. And I think when you're in the room with these people, and I'm sure Scrote felt the same thing too, when, throughout the Bowie or the thing, when you're in the room with these legends, but you got to step up energetically at a different level. You have to sort of meet them at that place, because that's why you're there. That's why you're in the room and someone else isn't, because you can do that and you have to do that. So I look back on all these interactions with all these huge people that I've gotten to work with, but in the moment, it's about, you've got a job to do, I've got a job to do, and we've got to come together on that. And so,
it hits me kind of when I'll work with somebody and then I'll go on to something else, and then that first person, maybe 6 months, a year later, will call or text. I'll look at my phone and think, what is that guy calling me for? Wait a minute.
This is pretty cool.
Or sometimes out of the blue, some big name will come up on my phone that I didn't expect coming, and I'll just be somewhere and I'll go, oh, wow, that's really odd. I've only seen them on a record sleeve. And then I just have to take a moment. Okay, well, back into business. Yeah. But it'll catch me for a second here and there.
So this is why you guys are pros, is because you don't lose it right there when you're on stage. I get it if you wanted to later on.
So Rob doesn't seem to get nervous at work situations. So, and I'm not familiar with the story, but did you meet your wife at a work situation, or was it a different way? Were you nervous? Yes, you weren't nervous.
Met her at the Albert Hall.
Yeah,
Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, it was. So Dion was doing. Alfie, can you get in the bed? So, 1 second, my dog's trying to.
All right, we got the issue here too.
Oh, we love dogs. Bring the dog on the show.
His dog Alfie.
Oh, I love that.
He's getting older, and I had a box there in his way. Poor thing. Good boy. All right, sweet Alfie.
What's it all about, Alfie?
Exactly.
But that's a good name for a dog over here. It's not really sort of like, oh yeah, that's right, the song. Dion was doing a World Hunger Day at the Albert Hall, and it was with a bunch of UK guest artists. And it was, some guys like it was Boy George and Cliff Richard and then some younger ones like Carol Emerald and Katie Mellowa, and Rumor was one of them. And the way that thing worked was each of the artists would do one or two of their own songs, and they would pick a duet to do with Dion. And so, I mean, my band had to learn like 40 songs because we had to play behind all the other people as well. So it's like, oh yeah, we've got to play. Boy George wants to do Georgia or whatever. So we got to learn that. And we got to learn, do you really want to hurt me? And then he's going to sing, I can't remember what it was with Dion. And it was like that. And so we had to learn one of Rumor's hits, but then she picked a song called Hasbrook Heights as a Bacharach song that I loved. And when I was working on Burt's show in the 90s, we were in 95 or so when we were revamping his show, I loved this song. Yeah, it's a kind of a deep cut, obscure one, and really tried to get it in the show. And I had it in there for a while, and then Burt eventually like, no, man, there's just no room for it. It's like, almost. So fast forward, I get this request, and I go to Dion. I say, Dion, this Rumor girl has requested to do Hasbrook Heights as the duet. Are you cool with that? Yeah, okay, great. And I think, who is this girl? She's got some good taste. A month before the Albert Hall show is when Burt and Hal were getting their Congressional Medal of Honor thing, with Obama. So it's the White House, and Phil Ramone was putting the band together, and he was putting the artists together that were going to perform at the White House for the Obamas, and with Burt sitting 6 feet away. And it was, Lyle Lovett and Sheryl Crow and Stevie Wonder and all these, and Rumor. And so that had been like the month before. And I'm thinking, who is this girl? First of all, she's doing the Congressional Medal of Honor thing with Burt over there. And then now she's coming over here and doing this. And she's like, pick this song. Who is this? Learned it great and everything. And then we met, at the rehearsal. And was like, hi. And she was like, you want to take a picture? I was like, yeah. And she handed me her camera. She wanted to take a picture with her and Tony Hatch.
You thought it was a selfie.
Not of you.
I took the picture, and here's your phone back. But but we then hit it off, and she had already been over and worked with Burt, I think a year or so before, looking at some songs when she was recording. She had looking through with this publisher some of the new material, so she was kind of floating on the periphery of that world. But yeah, that's how we met. Albert Hall.
Nice. Good story. All right. So y'all have Alfie any other pets?
A cat, Errol, 5 fish that I have to feed that my son does not feed. I think that's it.
That's about it.
I have an interesting Alfie story I heard about the song. I wonder if Rob has heard this one. They wanted Cilla Black to do it, sing it, who was a big UK artist at the time. Mm-hmm. And they presented it to her, and she goes, Alfie, what's that? It's a song about a dog. I'm not going to sing a song about a dog. What are you talking about? They go, oh, come on, it's a Bacharach tune. I don't care. I don't want to sing a song about a dog. That's ridiculous. And then they kept asking her, and she thought, well, I'll just up the ante. Said, well, I'll sing it if Burt Burt produces it or something.
Writes the arrangement.
Oh, writes the arrangement. Yeah, there you go. And they go, well, he'll turn it down. And they come back to go, yeah, he said he would. They're like, oh, I better up it more. I'll do it if Burt shows up and comes and does it with me at Abbey Road for the recording. That'll kill it. And he agreed. And so it kept going like that. She's like, damn it, I got to do the tune.
Yeah.
And there's a really great on YouTube of them recording that. I think they did 85 takes or something of that. It's some ridiculous amount. And she's just singing it. It's really demanding vocally, really demanding.
And George Martin is producing.
George Martin. And there's a good clip on there and just going over it and over and it. Burt's there and her singing until they finally got something that they thought was the one, Awesome. Ended up being that's the marquee version of it.
Yeah, I think Burt, why are you wanting another take? And he goes, I'm just looking for that magic thing. And George Martin goes, I think he had it on take 4. And they went back a little bit more.
Yeah. Can't say no though, got to keep going. All right. Well, hey, gentlemen, we appreciate it. Y'all been on a long time with us, but getting on about an hour. And I know, Rob, you're on a different time zone, so I don't want to keep you up too late. But we certainly appreciate it. We're very excited about this tour. And if there's anything else you want to tell us about it right quick, we'll take it. Otherwise, we are very pleased with the band. We're looking forward to it. Seeing you on a few shows. It's going to be a lot of fun. Todd fans are very excited.
Great. We appreciate your help getting the word out.
Anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody don't forget, come on out and see this show, especially in Akron, Ohio, right, Chris?
That's right.
There you go.
We have a vested interest in that one.
There's the link, whattheworldneedsnow.net. You can find out who all's in the ensemble. You won't see any of the song list though, but you'll see some really fun and unique, and what a great group of people. It's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody's so nice, like y'all said.
So special guests being announced soon. So
special guests soon. We're looking forward to that
right.
scoop. Yeah.
check it out.
Maybe even Scrote is one of those guests, I bet.
Hey, it's possible.
Could happen. He does know the music, right?
That's right.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. It's good talking to you.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you again.
Bye, y'all.
Ciao.